Hi, I'm Rob here at MTI, and I want to talk today about base fitness and kind of explain what base fitness is. In general, when we think about programming for the athletes we work with, or really any type of athlete, the further you are away from an event, the more general your training can be. So for example, let's say I'm talking here about a soldier in the Army, and he wants to go to Green Beret Selection, or SFAS. About 8 weeks out from selection, I want him to start our ruck-based selection training program. And between whenever it is and the time he starts this program, I want him to do general training or general fitness. So in general, the further you are out from an event, the more general your training can be. This general fitness stuff, in my programming theory, I have a name for this. I call this base fitness. Now this idea of making your programming more sport specific the closer you get to your event applies not only to our tactical athletes, but also to our mountain athletes. So if I was working, for example, with a mountain athlete, and this athlete was going to climb Denali, then 8 to 9 weeks out from his or her Denali climb, I want that person to start our Denali climbing program. And between now and whenever it is, to do more general training, or what I call base fitness. Now when I talk about base fitness, that's not just random general programming. And it's not the same for the different types of athletes that we work with. Let me just give you some examples here. Let's say I'm working with 3 different types of athletes. I've got here an Army Ranger. Let's say I have a Seattle patrol officer. And I have a mountain guide here in Jackson. The fitness demands from the base fitness perspective, they share some of the fitness demands, and then they have some that are unique to them. So for example, each of them has, under my programming, a base fitness demand of relative strength. Relative strength is strength per body weight. I want to get the athlete strong, but not put a lot of body weight on them. Next is base fitness demand of work capacity. Work capacity is high intensity, relatively short duration, out to 20 or 30 minutes. And all of them have the same demand. Chassis integrity. All of them have a demand for chassis integrity, which is just our midsection strength training and strength endurance training. All of these athletes work under load and have strong fitness demand for a strong midsection that's functional or transferable. But after this, after those 3 things from the base fitness side start to diverge a little bit. Endurance. Army Ranger has an endurance demand, and more specifically there are 2 types: running and rucking. A Seattle patrol officer, from a fitness perspective, not really a big endurance demand. For the mountain guide, yeah, has an endurance demand. But the mountain guide's endurance demand is different than the Army Rangers. Trail running and uphill movement under load. In just about every mountain activity, you end up going uphill carrying a pack, uphill movement under load. Next, TACSEPA, which is just an acronym that we developed for tactical speed, explosive power, and agility. Both these two tactical athletes have this fitness demand. Mountain guide doesn't. Next, upper body hypertrophy. For the Seattle Patrolman, having a big chest and some big biceps, even though it's extra weight on that person, it can be a deterrent to bad guys trying to mess with him. So having a big chest and a big upper body can really be give a tactical advantage to a patrol officer. But my Army Ranger, my mountain guide, they don't need that. And then the guide is going to need climbing fitness. Over the years, I discovered the hard way that there's no way to train rock climbing specific fitness other than getting my athletes, my mountain athletes, on our system boards, on our tech boards, down at the rock gym doing bouldering problems. It's a really specific and erodible type of fitness. So you can see that from a base fitness perspective, each has, they share some of the same elements. The type of athletes we work with do, but then they start to diverge a little bit. So how does this work in terms of the overall training programming? And I'm going to take you to what I call the fitness mountain. The fitness mountain is a way that I taught myself to conceptualize how to think about programming for mountain tactical athletes over a long term. And in general, this is the mountain. And at the bottom here is base fitness. So, if I was to take, and I guess I'll go back here a little bit, in the part right here, the next part is what I call mid-mountain fitness, or this would be sport-specific fitness. And at the top is what I call summit fitness, and it's stuff you get with technical practice. Going back to that first diagram, again, you want to be doing base fitness until you get close to your event. For a soldier, say who's going to Green Beret selection, SFAS, you do the ruck-based selection training program, 8 weeks out. If I was to take this and kind of tip it up on its side, it would look like this. This would be base fitness. This would be the ruck-based selection training program, which is our sport-specific training program for Green Beret selection. This would be SFAS right here, and then the summit fitness would be the stuff that he or she would pick up at SFAS. Little technical things that we just can't efficiently train in the gym. So you can kind of see how that kind of tilts up. What is interesting about this idea is, just to use this example, the base fitness demands that we train for, in this case, the soldiers going to Green Beret selection. Just to review, We've got relative strength, work capacity, endurance, chassis integrity, and then TAC-SEPA. There's a lot of demands for each one of these at Green Beret selection. Our ruck-based selection training program is a very intense program, and an athlete who would try to do that without coming into it with a solid base level of fitness, sport specific to that program, would struggle just to complete our program. So what we're trying to do is, with our athletes, is build this base on top of which we can build a sport specific fitness and prepare them for the event, wherever that event is going to be. First responders. For law enforcement personnel and fire rescue athletes, it's a little bit different. Unlike military athletes, where they can't necessarily plan on deployments or on schools or on selections, most of their programming may be just doing our base stuff. They may not move into a sport-specific program unless they wanted to focus on something individually. There are exceptions to that. For example, FBI agent who wants to go to HRT selection, a Border Patrol agent who wants to go to BORTAC selection, or just the Seattle patrolman I talked about who wants to go to the Seattle full-time SWAT team selection. There's cases where they can do their base, we have a selection program, and then they go to the selection for that. Let's step back and talk about base. On our website, Mountain Tactical, where do you find the base programming? For military, it's either in the daily operator sessions, and then sometimes we'll take the stuff we learn in the operator sessions and we'll turn them into plans that we offer and put on the site. And our most recent base fitness programming that we've turned into plans for the military guys is the Greek Hero packet of plans. For the mountain, we have mountain base sessions, which are daily sessions. And then we've turned our most recent stuff for those into the Greek Heroine plans. Law enforcement, we have the daily officer sessions, which is base programming. And then our most recent programming theory we've turned into the spirits plans. And by spirits, I mean booze. Vodka, whiskey, bourbon are a couple of the names for those plans. For fire rescue, we currently don't have daily programming for fire rescue, but we do have a series of plans that represent our most recent stuff, and those are the big cat plans. It's a big cat packet. Jaguar, lion, leopard. And then for SWAT, we don't have daily programming for SWAT, but we do have a packet of plans, which are the Gunmaker series. Beretta, Glock, etc. So on the website for Military Mountain LE, we have daily sessions that we run with our lab rats. And we also have packets and existing plans that we send athletes to. And then fire rescue and SWAT, we have new plans for base fitness programming in these different packets and series. Don't be overwhelmed by it. Programming for Mountain Tactical athletes is sophisticated, it's complicated. But our programming, when you start doing a plan, it flows really well. You'll see how it works. You'll see how the progression works. And what we hope to do with our base fitness programming is not only make sure that we're covering all those fitness attributes for the individual type of athlete, but also addressing the burden of constant fitness. For the mountain professionals, the mountain guides, and then for all of our tactical athletes, none of you can afford to be out of shape and really get away from training for too long. And if you don't have some variety, it can lead to staleness. We've developed, I think, through our programming methodology, through fluid periodization and addressing these different fitness attributes, not only day-to-day programming, which will keep you ready for your job, but also keeps things interesting, keeps you interested in the training, and keeps you moving along, and keeps that high level of base fitness that you can apply right to work. If you have any questions, I answer dozens each day. Rob at mtntactical.com. Send them my way. Thanks.